North Carolina is filled with dark history, forgotten tragedies, and places where the past refuses to rest. From abandoned ghost towns and silent battlefields to old hotels, forests, and bridges, many locations are linked to chilling paranormal stories. Locals and visitors have reported shadow figures, strange lights, whispers, and unexplained footsteps. These haunted places reflect centuries of war, loss, and mystery, making North Carolina one of America's most eerie and ghost-filled states. Now we will visit the most haunted places in North Carolina. Number 1. Queen's University of Charlotte. Queen's University of Charlotte is known as a peaceful and respected campus, but beneath its quiet beauty lies a long history filled with eerie legends and unexplained events. Built on land that once held old homes and burial grounds, the university has witnessed decades of change, loss, and hidden sorrow. Many students and staff believe these restless spirits still walk the campus after dark. Late at night, footsteps are often heard in empty halls, especially inside the older academic buildings and dormitories. Doors slam without warning, lights switch on and off, and cold spots appear suddenly, even in warm weather. Students have reported seeing shadowy figures standing at the ends of corridors, watching silently before fading away. Some have heard whispers calling their names when no one else was nearby. One terrifying story comes from the campus green, where figures dressed in old clothing have been seen crossing the lawn at dawn, only to disappear as the sun rises. In certain buildings, the feeling of being watched becomes overwhelming, and electronic devices sometimes malfunction for no clear reason. Many believe these spirits are tied to the land's forgotten past. Queen's University remains one of the most haunted places in North Carolina, where history and the paranormal exist side by side. Number 2. Chicken Alley in Asheville. Chicken Alley in Asheville is a narrow, forgotten passageway that many locals fear after dark. Hidden between old brick buildings, this alley is believed to be haunted by the ghost of Dr. Jamie Smith, a physician who mysteriously disappeared in the early 1900s. According to legend, Dr. Smith was known for secretly treating injured workers and criminals late at night. One evening, he was last seen entering Chicken Alley and was never seen alive again. People walking through the alley report sudden cold chills and the strong smell of medicine and damp earth. Soft footsteps often echo behind visitors, matching their pace, but no one is ever there. Some claim to see a tall shadow wearing what looks like an old doctor's coat standing near the alley's far wall. When approached, the figure slowly fades into darkness. The most terrifying stories describe whispered medical instructions, as if Dr. Smith is still working on unseen patients. Others hear a low moaning sound, believed to be the doctor's final moments, replaying again and again. Lights flicker, phones lose signal, and panic sets in without warning. Many people rush out feeling dizzy and watched. Chicken Alley remains a place of fear, where Dr. Jamie Smith's restless spirit is said to still wander, making it one of the most haunted places in North Carolina. Number 3. The USS Battleship. The USS Battleship, North Carolina, rests quietly along the Cape Fear River in Wilmington, but many believe its past never truly left. During World War II, this massive warship saw intense combat and survived deadly attacks. Hundreds of sailors lived, worked, and suffered aboard the ship, and some are said to have never moved on. When night falls, the battleship feels heavy, cold, and unsettling, even when no one else is around. Visitors and staff have reported hearing footsteps echoing through empty corridors, as if sailors are still walking their old routes. Some have seen shadowy figures in uniforms disappearing around corners. Strange voices, distant knocking, and sudden cold spots are often felt deep inside the ship. Doors have been known to open and close on their own, and lights sometimes flicker without explanation. One of the most frightening stories comes from crew members who feel unseen hands brushing past them in narrow passageways. Others describe the sound of coughing or quiet crying near the sleeping quarters. Many believe the spirits of fallen sailors remain forever tied to the steel walls of the ship. The USS Battleship, North Carolina, stands not only as a war memorial, but as one of the most haunted and terrifying places in the state. Number 4. Biltmore Estate in Asheville. The Biltmore Estate in Asheville looks grand and beautiful, but many believe it hides a dark and haunted side. Built by George Vanderbilt in the late 1800s, this massive mansion has witnessed illness, loss, and deep emotional pain. After George Vanderbilt's early death, the house was filled with sadness, and some say his spirit never truly left the estate he loved so deeply. Visitors and staff have reported seeing a man dressed in old-fashioned clothing walking through hallways and gardens, believed to be George Vanderbilt himself. Strange footsteps are often heard on staircases when no one is there. Doors open and close on their own, and lights flicker in empty rooms late at night. Some guests feel sudden cold chills or an overwhelming sense of being watched, especially in the library and bedrooms. One of the most terrifying stories involves a woman in a long dressing near the grand staircase, silently staring before vanishing into thin air. Others report hearing soft voices, laughter, or distant music echoing through the halls. Shadows move without cause, and objects are sometimes found in different places. The Biltmore Estate remains a place of beauty, history, and lingering spirits, making it one of the most haunted locations in North Carolina. Number 5. Elmwood Cemetery in Charlotte. Elmwood Cemetery in Charlotte is a vast and historic burial ground, but many believe it is also one of the most haunted places in North Carolina. Established in the mid-1800s, it holds the graves of soldiers, victims of epidemics, and prominent families. As the sun sets, the cemetery takes on an eerie stillness, and the air feels heavy, as if the ground itself remembers every sorrow buried beneath it. Visitors have reported seeing dark figures standing between the tall monuments, silently watching before sinking into the shadows. Unlike other haunted cemeteries, Elmwood is known for sudden, unexplained sounds. Loud knocks are heard on mausoleum walls, and metallic scraping noise echo through empty pathways. Some claim the sound of a bell ringing softly can be heard, even though no bell exists nearby. One terrifying account describes a tall, faceless figure appearing near the oldest section of graves, causing people to freeze with fear before it slowly fades away. Others report feeling intense pressure on their chest, as if something unseen is pushing them down. Electronic devices often fail, and batteries drain without warning. Many visitors leave with headaches or deep unease. Elmwood Cemetery remains a place where silence feels alive, making it one of the most chilling and haunted locations in North Carolina. Number 6. North Carolina State Capitol in Raleigh. The North Carolina State Capitol in Raleigh is a powerful symbol of government, but many believe it is also one of the most haunted places in the state. Built in the 1800s after a deadly fire destroyed the earlier Capitol, the building has witnessed political conflict, sudden deaths, and long nights of stress and secrecy. When the halls are empty, the atmosphere becomes tense and unsettling. Security guards working late hours report hearing heavy boots walking across the marble floors, even when cameras show no one present. Papers have been found scattered across desks overnight, and the sound of a pen scratching is sometimes heard in locked offices, as if an unseen clerk is still writing. The large clock inside the building has been known to stop suddenly at the same late-night hour, then restart on its own. One terrifying story tells of a man in dark clothing seen standing silently on the staircase, staring downward before vanishing without a sound. Others describe smelling smoke in certain rooms, believed to be linked to the historic fire. Cold spots appear without warning, and some feel sudden dizziness or fear. The state capitol remains a place where history feels restless, making it one of North Carolina's most haunted and chilling locations. Number 7. Historic Brookstown Inn. The historic Brookstown Inn in Winston-Salem appears warm and welcoming, but many believe it hides one of the darkest hauntings in North Carolina. Built in the early 1800s, the building once served as a mill and later as a factory, where workers endured long hours, injuries, and sudden deaths. The heavy emotions from those years are said to still linger within the thick brick walls. Guests staying overnight have reported hearing the sound of machinery turning, even though the mill equipment has been gone for generations. Deep, rhythmic thumping echoes through the halls late at night, followed by the feeling of vibrations under the floor. Some visitors claim their beds shake gently, as if the building itself is breathing. Others wake up to find their belongings neatly stacked in places they never touched. One of the most terrifying stories involves an unseen presence sitting on the edge of the bed, causing the mattress to sink slowly before lifting again. Cold hands have been felt brushing against arms in narrow hallways. Mirrors fog without steam, revealing faint handprints. Many guests refuse to stay alone after dark. The historic Brookstown Inn is not just an old building, It is a place where the past continues to work, watch, and wander, making it one of the most haunted locations in North Carolina. Number 8. Jackson Building in Asheville. The Jackson Building in Asheville is a historic skyscraper, but many believe it is one of the most haunted places in North Carolina. Built in the 1920s, it was Asheville's first high-rise and has witnessed decades of business, ambition, and sudden deaths. Over the years, workers and visitors have reported strange occurrences, suggesting the building holds spirits that refuse to leave. Late at night, empty offices echo with footsteps, typing sounds, and distant voices, even though no one is present. Elevators move on their own, sometimes stopping at floors without passengers, while lights flicker mysteriously in hallways. Some employees claim doors open and close by themselves, and cold spots appear in certain corners, chilling anyone who passes through. One of the most terrifying stories involves a shadowy figure seen pacing near the stairwell late at night, vanishing when approached. Others have felt invisible hands brush against them in the corridors or heard whispers calling their names. On occasion, strange knocking is heard from locked rooms, and personal items have been found in different places without explanation. Visitors often leave with a sense of unease, feeling watched even after exiting. The Jackson Building stands as a monument to Asheville's history, but also as a place where the restless past seems alive, making it one of North Carolina's most haunted and unsettling locations. Number 9. Foscue Plantation House. The Foscue Plantation House in North Carolina is a grand historic home, but it is also known as one of the most haunted places in the state. Built in the 1800s, the house was the site of wealth, power, and hidden tragedy. Over the years, family members and workers suffered illness, sudden deaths, and heartbreak, leaving restless spirits behind. The plantation grounds, quiet and shadowed, seem to hold memories of the past. Visitors and staff often report seeing ghostly figures walking the halls, dressed in old-fashioned clothing. One common sight is a woman in a long dress wandering the upstairs rooms, sometimes glancing toward the windows as if waiting for someone. Cold drafts move through the house with no doors or windows open, and objects occasionally fall from shelves for no reason. One terrifying story involves the sound of footsteps echoing up the main staircase, yet no one is visible. Others hear whispers in empty rooms, sometimes calling their names, or feel sudden touches on their shoulders. At night, the plantation feels heavy and oppressive, as if the house itself is alive. Many visitors leave feeling uneasy. The Foscue Plantation House is not only a historic site, but also a chilling reminder of the spirits that may never rest. Number 10. Grove Park Inn in Asheville. The Grove Park Inn in Asheville is a legendary luxury hotel, but behind its stone walls lies a long history of real and widely reported hauntings that have frightened guests and staff for decades. Built in 1913, the hotel has hosted presidents, celebrities, and soldiers, and it has also witnessed sudden deaths, accidents, and deep personal tragedies. Many believe this emotional past has left spirits trapped inside. The most famous haunting is the Pink Lady, a woman believed to have fallen from an upper floor during the 1920s. Guests have reported seeing a soft pink mist or a woman in a flowing pink dress near the elevators and hallways. She is known for playful but unsettling behavior, such as turning lights on and off, opening doors, and rearranging personal belongings. Children often speak of seeing a nice lady in pink, even when adults see nothing. Other guests report loud footsteps pacing above their rooms, even when no one is staying there. Sudden cold spots, unexplained knocking, and the feeling of being watched are common complaints. Some wake up to find their blankets pulled away or hear whispering close to their ears. Hotel staff openly acknowledge these events, and paranormal investigators have documented unexplained activity. The Grove Park Inn remains a place where beauty and terror exist together, earning its reputation as one of the most genuinely haunted locations in North Carolina. Number 11. Country Squire Restaurant, Inn and Winery in Warsaw. The Country Squire Restaurant, Inn and Winery in Warsaw may look charming and peaceful, but it is widely known for real and long-reported paranormal activity, making it one of the most haunted places in North Carolina. The building dates back to the 1800s and has served many purposes, including a stagecoach stop and private residence. Over time, accidents, sudden deaths, and emotional suffering are believed to have left spirits behind. One of the most documented hauntings involves unseen footsteps moving across the upstairs rooms when no guests are staying there. Staff members have repeatedly heard chairs scraping across the floor and doors opening and slamming shut on their own. In the restaurant area, silverware has been known to fall without being touched, and darts have reportedly been thrown from the game room walls by an unseen force. Guests staying overnight often report waking to the feeling of someone standing beside their bed. Some feel their blankets pulled or hear whispering close to their ears. Sudden cold spots appear in certain rooms, even during summer. Children have pointed to empty spaces, claiming someone is watching them. Owners and employees openly acknowledge the hauntings, and paranormal investigators have recorded unexplained sounds and movements. The country Squire is not just a historic inn, it is a place where the past refuses to stay silent, earning its reputation as one of North Carolina's most genuinely haunted locations. Number 12, Cedar Grove Cemetery in New Bern. Cedar Grove Cemetery in New Bern is a peaceful resting place by day, but after sunset it becomes one of the most truly haunted and unsettling locations in North Carolina. Established in the 1700s, the cemetery holds the graves of soldiers, epidemic victims, and entire families lost to sudden tragedy. Many deaths were marked by grief and unfinished lives, which locals believe has left spirits unable to rest. Visitors and caretakers have reported real and repeated paranormal experiences over the years. Shadowy figures are often seen moving between headstones, especially near the oldest graves. Some witnesses describe a pale woman standing near the iron gates, silently watching before vanishing into thin air. Others have heard footsteps following them, stopping only when they stop walking. One of the most terrifying accounts involves voices whispering names late at night, even when the cemetery is empty. Sudden cold winds pass through specific areas with no change in weather. Cameras and phones frequently malfunction and batteries drain without warning. Some visitors leave with scratches or an intense feeling of dread that lingers long after they are gone. Local guides openly warn people not to visit Cedar Grove after dark. The cemetery carries a heavy, watchful silence, making it one of the most genuinely haunted and frightening places in North Carolina. Number 13, Ruins of Fort Dobbs. The ruins of Fort Dobbs, built during the French and Indian War in the mid-1700s, stand quietly in rural North Carolina. But many believe this forgotten frontier fort is one of the most truly haunted places in the state. Once a stronghold meant to protect settlers from violent attacks, Fort Dobbs witnessed fear, bloodshed, and constant tension. Soldiers lived under the threat of sudden death, and many never left the fort alive. Visitors and reenactors have reported real and repeated paranormal activity over the years. Heavy-booted footsteps are often heard moving through the ruins at night, even though the site is empty. Some people claim to hear distant gunshots shouting, or the clash of weapons echoing through the trees, especially near dusk. Cold spots appear suddenly, and the air feels thick and oppressive. One terrifying story involves the appearance of ghostly soldiers standing guard near the old fort walls, fading away when approached. Others have seen shadow figures pacing back and forth as if still on patrol. Campers nearby report waking to the sound of breathing close to their tents. Electronic equipment often malfunctions, and feelings of fear and panic strike without warning. Historians and local guides openly acknowledge these unexplained events. Fort Dobbs remains a place where war never truly ended, earning its reputation as one of North Carolina's most genuinely haunted and chilling locations. Number 14, Portsmouth Village. Portsmouth Village, hidden on the remote outer banks of North Carolina, is an abandoned settlement where silence feels unnatural and deeply unsettling. Once a thriving port town in the 1700s and 1800s, it was slowly emptied by violent storms, disease, and isolation. Families fled, leaving behind homes, churches, and graves that now stand alone in the wind. Many believe the spirits of those who never wanted to leave still remain. Visitors and park rangers have shared unsettling experiences throughout the village. Soft lantern-like lights have been seen moving between the empty houses at night, even though the island has no power. Footsteps echo across wooden porches, and doors are sometimes found open after being securely closed. Near the old schoolhouse, faint sounds of children laughing have been heard, followed by sudden, disturbing silence. One of the most frightening stories involves shadowy figures standing in the windows of abandoned homes, silently watching passersby. Others describe hearing church bells ringing from the empty chapel, despite no bell being present. Cold winds rush through certain areas without warning, bringing intense feelings of sadness and fear. Many visitors leave Portsmouth Village feeling watched and uneasy. The village remains a haunting reminder of a lost coastal community, making it one of the most chilling and haunted places in North Carolina. Number 15. Lydia's Bridge in Greensboro. Lydia's Bridge in Greensboro is a quiet, old crossing that many locals believe is one of the most haunted places in North Carolina. Hidden away from busy roads, the bridge is surrounded by thick trees and deep shadows, making it feel isolated even during the day. Long ago, this bridge became the center of a tragic legend involving a young woman named Lydia, whose life ended suddenly and violently nearby. Her sorrow is said to still linger in the area. Drivers who stop near the bridge late at night report their cars stalling for no clear reason. Headlights flicker, radios fill with static, and the air suddenly turns cold. Some people claim to see a pale woman standing on the side of the road, her face filled with sadness. When approached, she vanishes without a sound. One of the most terrifying stories comes from those who feel an unseen presence pressing down on their car, as if someone is sitting on the hood. Others have found muddy handprints appearing on their vehicles after leaving the bridge. Soft crying and whispering voices are often heard drifting through the trees. Many leave feeling shaken and watched. Lydia's Bridge remains a place of grief and fear, where a restless spirit is believed to still wait, making it one of the most haunted and unsettling locations in North Carolina. Number 16. The Mordecai House in Raleigh. The Mordecai House in Raleigh is one of North Carolina's oldest homes, and many believe it is also one of the most haunted places in the state. Built in the late 1700s, the house has seen generations of life, loss, and tragedy. Family members died young, wars passed through the area, and sorrow became part of the home's history. When the rooms are quiet, the house carries a heavy and unsettling presence. Visitors and tour guides have reported hearing footsteps moving across the wooden floors when no one else is inside. Doors slowly open on their own, and the sound of furniture being dragged echoes through empty rooms. Sudden cold chills are often felt, especially near the bedrooms and staircases. Some people claim to see a woman in old-fashioned clothing standing near windows, staring outside before fading away. One terrifying story involves a childlike figure seen running through the halls, laughing softly before disappearing. Others report whispers coming from behind closed doors and the feeling of invisible hands brushing against their arms. Lights flicker, and objects are sometimes found moved after tours end. Many leave with a sense of unease that follows them outside. The Mordecai House stands as a reminder that the past never truly leaves, earning its reputation as one of the most haunted and chilling locations in North Carolina. Number 17. Roanoke Island. Roanoke Island is one of the most mysterious and haunted places in North Carolina, wrapped in history that has never been fully explained. Known for the famous lost colony, the island is linked to disappearance, fear, and unanswered questions dating back to the 1500s. When the settlers vanished without a trace, it left behind a sense of dread that many believe still lingers across the island. Visitors walking near the old settlement sites and shoreline report hearing distant voices carried by the wind, speaking in languages they cannot understand. Footsteps are often heard in the woods at night, circling campers without ever revealing a source. Some people claim to see figures dressed in colonial clothing standing near the water, staring out toward the sea before fading into the mist. One of the most terrifying stories involves glowing shapes moving through the trees after sunset, sometimes forming human outlines before disappearing. Others report sudden drops in temperature and the feeling of being watched from every direction. Near the Old Fort area, the sound of crying and whispered prayers has been heard late at night. Many visitors leave Roanoke Island feeling uneasy and unsettled. The island remains a place where history ended abruptly, making it one of the most haunted and chilling locations in North Carolina. Number 18. Duke Mansion in Charlotte. The Duke Mansion in Charlotte is known for its elegance and quiet beauty, but many believe it is also one of the most haunted places in North Carolina. Built in the early 1900s, the mansion was once home to wealthy families and important guests, but behind the grand rooms were stories of loneliness, illness, and untimely deaths. Over the years, the emotional weight of the past is said to have soaked into the walls. Guests staying overnight have reported hearing slow footsteps moving through the hallways late at night, even when no one else is awake. Doors gently open on their own, and lights switch off without being touched. Some visitors feel sudden cold chills in certain rooms, especially near the upper floors and staircases. A soft knocking sound is often heard on bedroom doors, but when opened, no one is there. One of the most terrifying stories involves the sighting of a woman dressed in early 1900s clothing standing silently near the windows, watching the gardens below. Others have felt the pressure of someone sitting on the bed, causing the mattress to sink slowly. Whispers, distant sighs, and the feeling of being watched are common experiences. Many guests leave the Duke Mansion with a lingering sense of unease, convinced that unseen residents still walk its elegant halls, making it one of North Carolina's most haunted locations. Number 19. Bentonville Battlefield. Bentonville Battlefield in North Carolina is a wide, quiet stretch of land, but many believe it is one of the most haunted places in the state. This was the site of one of the last major battles of the Civil War, where thousands of soldiers were wounded or killed. The ground is soaked with memories of pain, fear, and sudden death, and many say those moments still echo across the fields. Visitors walking the battlefield near dusk report hearing distant gunfire, shouted commands, and the sound of marching boots, even though the land is completely empty. Fog often rolls in without warning, and within it, shadowy figures are said to move slowly across the fields before disappearing. Some people claim to see soldiers lying on the ground, reaching out for help, only to fade away when approached. One of the most terrifying experiences involves the feeling of being suddenly surrounded, as if unseen soldiers are closing in. Cold spots appear in open fields, and the air becomes heavy and hard to breathe. Some visitors leave feeling dizzy or emotionally overwhelmed. Cameras sometimes capture strange, misty shapes. Bentonville Battlefield remains a place where the war never truly ended, making it one of the most chilling and haunted locations in North Carolina. Number 20. Riverside Cemetery in Asheville. Riverside Cemetery in Asheville is a quiet and beautiful resting place by day, but many believe it becomes one of the most haunted places in North Carolina after sunset. Established in the late 1800s, the cemetery is the final home of soldiers, epidemic victims, and entire families who faced sudden loss. The winding paths, tall trees, and old monuments create a heavy and unsettling atmosphere. Visitors walking through the cemetery report seeing pale figures drifting between graves, especially near the older sections. Some claim to spot a woman in dark clothing standing near a headstone, staring downward before slowly fading away. Footsteps are often heard crunching on gravel behind visitors, even when no one else is there. The sound stops the moment they turn around. One of the most terrifying experiences involves sudden drops in temperature, where warm air instantly turns icy cold. Others have heard whispering voices carried on the wind, sometimes calling their names. Strange lights appear between the trees late at night, hovering low to the ground before vanishing. Some visitors leave with scratches or deep feelings of dread. Many locals avoid Riverside Cemetery after dark. The silence feels alive, and the sense of being watched never fades. Riverside Cemetery remains a place where the dead seem unwilling to rest, earning its reputation as one of the most haunted and chilling locations in North Carolina. Number 21. Lake Lure. Lake Lure is known for its stunning beauty, but beneath its calm waters lies one of the darkest and most haunted legends in North Carolina. Created in the early 1900s, the lake covers valleys, homes, and forgotten graves that were flooded when the dam was built. Many believe the spirits of those displaced or drowned during construction never truly left. When fog rolls across the water, the lake feels silent and uneasy. Boaters and fishermen have reported hearing voices calling for help from the middle of the lake, even when no other boats are nearby. Some claim to see figures standing on the water's surface at dawn, slowly sinking beneath the waves. At night, strange lights have been seen hovering just above the water, drifting toward the shoreline before vanishing. One of the most terrifying stories involves the feeling of unseen hands grabbing at legs while swimming, causing sudden panic. Others report boats moving on their own or engines shutting off without warning. Cold spots appear on warm nights, and the sound of splashing is heard when the water is completely still. Many locals avoid the lake after dark, Lake Lure remains a place of hidden death and lingering fear, making it one of the most haunted and unsettling locations in North Carolina. Number 22. Cape Hatteras Lighthouse. Cape Hatteras Lighthouse stands tall along North Carolina's dangerous Outer Banks, watching over a stretch of ocean known as the Graveyard of the Atlantic. For centuries, countless ships were wrecked by powerful storms and hidden sandbars, and many sailors lost their lives within sight of land. These tragic deaths have turned the lighthouse and its surroundings into one of the most haunted places in the state. Visitors and park staff report hearing heavy footsteps climbing the spiral staircase late at night, even when the lighthouse is closed. Some claim to hear the distant sound of waves crashing inside the tower, followed by faint cries carried on the wind. Shadowy figures have been seen standing near the lantern room, staring out toward the sea before slowly fading away. One of the most terrifying stories involves the appearance of a ghostly keeper dressed in old uniform clothing, seen walking along the base of the lighthouse during stormy weather. Others describe lights flickering on and off by themselves, or the feeling of being pushed while climbing the stairs. Sudden cold air fills the narrow passages without warning. Many visitors leave feeling uneasy and watched. Cape Hatteras Lighthouse remains a silent guardian of lost souls, making it one of the most chilling and haunted locations in North Carolina. Number 23. McGlohon Theater in Charlotte. McGlohon Theater in Charlotte is a beautiful historic building, but many believe it is also one of the most haunted places in North Carolina. Built in the early 1900s, the building has served as a church, a civic hall, and later a theater. Over the years, it has witnessed emotional gatherings, funerals, performances, and moments of deep sorrow. Many say those emotions never left the building. Actors and staff working late at night report hearing footsteps moving across the stage and balconies when the theater is empty. The sound of a piano playing softly has been heard, even though no one is near the instrument. Lights flicker on and off, and doors open by themselves during rehearsals. Cold spots appear suddenly, especially near the stage and backstage areas. One of the most terrifying stories involves a shadowy figure seen sitting in the audience seats, watching performances in silence. When approached, the figure vanishes. Others have felt unseen hands tugging at their clothing or brushing past them in narrow hallways. Whispers are sometimes heard calling names from the dark corners of the theater. Many performers feel nervous before stepping on stage. McGlohon Theater remains a place where the past still watches, listens, and lingers, making it one of the most haunted and unsettling locations in North Carolina. Number 24. Bellamy Mansion in Wilmington. The Bellamy Mansion in Wilmington is a grand historic home, but many believe it is also one of the most haunted places in North Carolina. Built in the mid-1800s, the mansion witnessed wealth, slavery, war, and deep human suffering. Enslaved people lived and worked on the property, and the house later endured the violence and chaos of the Civil War. These painful events are believed to have left restless spirits behind. Visitors and museum staff have reported strange activity throughout the mansion. Heavy footsteps are often heard moving across the upper floors when no one is there. Doors open and close on their own, and the sound of furniture being dragged echoes through empty rooms. Sudden cold spots appear, especially near the back staircases and servant areas. One of the most terrifying stories involves a figure seen standing at the top of the stairs, watching silently before vanishing. Others have heard soft voices and whispering near the slave quarters, sometimes sounding like prayers or quiet crying. Lights flicker, and alarms occasionally trigger without explanation. Some visitors feel intense sadness or fear while touring the house. Many leave with the sense that they are not alone. The Bellamy Mansion remains a place where history feels painfully alive, making it one of the most haunted and unsettling locations in North Carolina. Number 25. Henry River Mill Village. Henry River Mill Village near Morganton is an abandoned textile town frozen in time, and many believe it is one of the most haunted places in North Carolina. Built in the early 1900s, the village once housed mill workers and their families who lived hard lives filled with poverty, illness, and sudden accidents. When the mill shut down, the town was left to decay, trapping its painful memories inside empty homes and silent streets. Visitors exploring the crumbling buildings report hearing footsteps echoing inside houses with no floors left. Doors slam on their own, and windows appear to glow faintly at night. Some people claim to see shadowy figures standing in doorways, watching silently before fading away. The old mill building is said to be the most frightening spot, where loud banging and the sound of machinery have been heard long after the equipment stopped working. One terrifying story involves the sound of children crying near the abandoned school and church, even though the area is empty. Others feel sudden pressure on their chest or intense fear for no clear reason. Cameras often malfunction, and batteries drain quickly. Many visitors leave feeling followed. Henry River Mill Village remains a haunting reminder of forgotten lives, earning its reputation as one of the most chilling and haunted locations in North Carolina. Number 26. The Basilica of St. Lawrence. The Basilica of St. Lawrence in Asheville is admired for its beauty and peaceful atmosphere. Yet many believe it is also one of the most haunted places in North Carolina. Built in the early 1900s, the basilica has witnessed countless funerals, confessions, and moments of deep sorrow and fear. Over time, these intense emotions are said to have left a spiritual presence within the thick stone walls. Late at night, caretakers have reported hearing footsteps echoing across the empty sanctuary, followed by the sound of benches creaking as if someone has sat down. Some claim to hear faint chanting or prayers whispered in the dark, even when the church is completely empty. Candles have been found extinguished or relit without explanation, and cold air often moves through certain aisles. One of the most terrifying stories involves a shadowy figure seen near the altar, standing perfectly still before disappearing. Others have felt sudden pressure on their shoulders while kneeling, as if unseen hands are resting there. The sound of the organ has been heard playing a single low note with no one at the keys. Many visitors leave feeling watched and unsettled. The Basilica of St. Lawrence remains a place where silence feels heavy, making it one of the most haunting and unsettling locations in North Carolina. Number 27. Ocracoke Island. Ocracoke Island, isolated by miles of dark water, is one of the most haunted places in North Carolina, shaped by centuries of shipwrecks, storms, and sudden deaths. Known as part of the graveyard of the Atlantic, the island has claimed countless sailors whose bodies were never recovered. Pirates once used these waters, and legends say some never truly left. The island's quiet beaches and narrow roads feel unsettling after sunset. Visitors and residents have reported seeing strange lights moving along the shoreline late at night, believed to be the spirits of lost sailors searching for land. Footsteps are often heard on empty beaches, following people before stopping suddenly. Some claim to see ghostly figures standing near the dunes, staring out toward the ocean before fading into the mist. One of the most terrifying legends is tied to Blackbeard, whose headless spirit is said to roam the island, calling out from the darkness during stormy nights. Others hear knocking on doors when no one is outside, or feel sudden cold air pass through their homes. Boats have been found drifting after being securely tied. Many people feel watched and uneasy. Ocracoke Island remains a place where the sea never forgets its dead, making it one of the most chilling and haunted locations in North Carolina. Number 28. Lake Norman. Lake Norman, stretching wide and dark across North Carolina, is often whispered about as one of the most haunted places in the state. Beneath its calm surface lie the remains of flooded towns, old roads, and forgotten homes swallowed when the lake was created. Many believe the spirits of those displaced never truly left. At night, the water feels heavy and silent, as if hiding countless secrets below. Boaters have reported seeing shadowy figures standing on the water, only for them to vanish when approached. Strange lights sometimes rise from the lake late at night, glowing briefly before sinking back into the depths. Some swimmers describe being grabbed by unseen hands, forcing them to flee the water in panic. Engines suddenly shut off in the middle of the lake, even when fully functional moments before. Nearby residents tell stories of hearing church bells and distant singing echoing across the water after midnight, sounds linked to submerged cemeteries and buildings. Cold spots drift along the shoreline, and ghostly faces are said to appear in the mist during early mornings. Many visitors leave with a deep sense of unease. Lake Norman stands as a haunting reminder that what lies beneath the surface is never truly gone. Number 29. The Dunhill Hotel. The Dunhill Hotel in Charlotte is often spoken of as one of the most haunted places in North Carolina. Built in the 1920s, This elegant building has witnessed decades of joy, sorrow, and sudden tragedy, leaving behind a presence that many guests still feel today. Even in daylight, parts of the hotel carry a heavy and uneasy atmosphere. Guests have reported hearing footsteps in empty hallways late at night, followed by soft knocking on doors when no one is there. Some visitors wake to the sound of whispering near their beds, while others claim their lights flicker on and off without reason. Elevators have been known to stop on random floors, opening to silent, empty corridors that feel watched. Staff members share stories of a woman in old-fashioned clothing appearing near guest rooms before fading into the walls. Cold air often drifts through certain rooms, causing sudden chills. Objects move on their own, and suitcases have been found unpacked without explanation. Many guests leave the Dunhill Hotel convinced they were not alone, believing unseen residents still roam its halls, refusing to leave. Number 30 Raw Irish Pub. Raw Irish Pub, located in Charlotte, is often whispered about as one of the most haunted places in North Carolina. The pub was built using wood and interior pieces shipped from an old pub in Ireland, and many believe the spirits attached to those materials traveled across the ocean along with them. From the moment the doors close at night, the building seems to come alive. Staff members have reported hearing footsteps moving across the upper floors when no one else is inside. Glasses slide across the bar on their own, and chairs are sometimes found stacked differently than they were left. Late at night, sudden cold spots form near the stairs, followed by the feeling of being watched. Some workers have seen a shadowy figure standing near the bar, silently observing before fading away. Customers have shared chilling experiences as well. Soft voices and faint laughter are heard during quiet hours, even when the pub is empty. Doors open and close without explanation, and lights flicker for no clear reason. Many believe the spirits are former pub regulars who never stopped drinking there, keeping Raw alive with unseen company long after closing time.